You're with NewsMakers. On the panel, Ross Gumbley, Roger Sutton and Bruce Ansley. Christ's College has made a splash in the news this week for planning to serve alcohol to under 18-year-olds at next week's school ball. In fact, I think they've done this in the past. Parents have given written permission for their children to drink alcohol at the event. Is this appropriate, or is the school sending a message that you have to drink to enjoy yourself? Roger.
I'm fine with it. I remember at my school ball 25 whatever years ago, we had alcohol served and it wasn't any big deal. I'm fine with it.
I'm fine with it too, because at my school ball, which unfortunately was a few more years than 25 ago, we all had to go out to our cars and
yes,
so you
could drive there.
You had cars.
Absolutely. And yes.
And you behaved yourself in the car?
Carried home to his car so we could drive home.
I hope he didn't, but I suspect we did.
Mr. Gumbley.
I think it's fine. I remember it. I didn't have a school ball, but we had a leavers dinner, and the masters used to serve the leaving students, and it was fantastic for social faux pas because the master came around with a carafe of Riesling and Merlot, very dark Merlot, and he said, "Which would you like, white or?" And he said, "No, I'll have the black."
By the way, you may have noticed this in the press coverage. They had a quote from Christ's principal, Simon Lease, and he was saying that the school is doing this alcohol bizzo because they want to introduce their school leavers to alcohol in a responsible manner before they go off in the wider world. I would have thought at the age of 17, 18, dare I say it, most of those students would have been initiated on alcohol a lot earlier.
Absolutely, not just introduced, but on first name terms.
Yeah. So, I mean, is this naive or absurd? Really?
Absurd.
Yeah, OK. I think we've bludgeoned that one to death. Now, Monday's front page of the press, speaking of the paper, celebrated Canterbury's Ranfurly Shield win, and they depicted what some readers have called the beer-swilling antics in the team's dressing room. We've got the picture for you here. There you go. And as you can see in the picture, a young fan is in the middle of this scrum of rugby players, arguably at risk of being drenched by the frothy tui. Some readers have frothed and foamed at the press and the team for glorifying the booze culture after a win. What do we think, Ross?
Look, I don't think we know how to celebrate winning in this country, because I think often, especially when it comes to rugby, we have an expectation that we're going to win. And when we do win, we think, well, that's right, that's just the natural course, that's the way it should be. And of course, when we don't win, and every 4 years at the World Cup, there's this massive bloodletting, because we have this terrible expectation to win.
Yeah.
I remember Paul McDonald said, if you say to somebody, you remember Paul McDonald, the rowing partner of Ian Ferguson, he said, if you say to somebody in the States, I'm going to the Olympics, they go, wow, that's amazing, you're going to the Olympics. He said, if you say that to somebody in New Zealand, they say, oh yeah, you're going to win? And I think it's typical of our attitude towards sport. I don't think we celebrate our wins enough, so I haven't got a problem with it.
All right, very quick comment, Bruce.
Well, I'm not quite sure what beer swilling is. These guys, they've all got a can each. I mean, how do you swill a can? I don't know. Maybe they're just having a quiet beer after a game.
Yeah, all right.
Well, I think it is a pity. We often associate, winning with overindulging in alcohol. So, and I think it's a pity the rugby people, if you like, don't take more of a leadership role around that. But I guess it also says there's some leadership roles people like in the health sector could take around alcohol advertising. So whenever anyone from Christchurch A&E was talking about their job, they would have plaster, wearing a cap, 5 of my victims tonight were drinking tui.
Nice.
All that sort of stuff, and get into a start using the brand names of these products associated with the violence and the horribleness that happens out there.
That's true.
I think that'd be a really fun thing to do.
Now, I've got 60 seconds on the clock in total for your high flyers and low riders of the week. Who wets your whistle? Around we go, Ross.
I've just got one high riser, Sugar Ray Leonard. I think he came into the country, no doubt, to boost the tour Cameron fight, but I thought he handled himself brilliantly with real grace and a genuine champion.
Lovely. Bruce?
Polly Pollock for me. She's planted all those trees, now she's getting the heave-ho from the Navy.
Yes. In the Navy, eh? Yes.
Goodbye, sailor.
Telecom 018.
Who, sorry?
Telecom 018. Can
What's wrong?
Telecom 018 be a person?
Oh, this is the Manila calling people.
Ring them, and it's just impossible
Yes.
having any sort of getting any sort of sensible response from them. And
Yes.
it's very, very frustrating, and
Yes.
it's just awful, the fact that nothing's happening.
Roger's off to a Filipino night class on Monday, aren't you?
Oh, I thought he was off to a Filipino nightclub.
All right, now, for the pick of the week, we have sourced a certain image from the land of Stars and Stripes, and this image is a sharp reminder about America's obesity epidemic and what becomes of feeding your fat face on fatty snacks. It's all very self-explanatory, really, isn't it? I mean, it's a very graphic demonstration of the cause and effect, don't you think? Arse is the word. Thank you very much to the anonymous viewer who thought this was, well, the picture of the century, really. Bigger than Texas. Last week's NewsMakers poll question was, should teachers be encouraged to text message their students? You were very emphatic about this. 31% said yes, but 69% no. The prize winner was S. Todd. Now, the NewsMakers poll is taking a break for a few weeks, as I am too. Yes. But I do want to thank our illustrious panel, Mr. Gumbley, Mr. Ansley and Mr. Sutton. Have a very good weekend, chaps. By the way, speaking of liquor, on Tuesday night we have a NewsMakers Extra dedicated to the liquor law review, and we have a panel debate with MPs Leanne Dalzell, Nikki Wagner and from the Hospitality Association, Peter Morrison. Should be interesting. I hope you can join us. Take care. Good night.